What's up, St. Louis, and welcome back to another episode of Top Corner Talk and special edition of therapy session for myself, Charlie, Oscar, and Jeremy. I know we have a lot to talk about, and by the face of Charlie, I know there's quite a few frustrations. So, a quick recap of the last game at Energizer Park, where San Diego went home with a 2-0 win
What,
against
2-1?
our two. Sorry, Kyle, 2-1. Well, you know what, Cal, my apologies, and I'll send it to it as well. But 2-1 lost. So as you can see, there's been quite a few conversations and talk about the score, fouls, whose fault is it, and who is it. So, Charlie, how are you feeling, my friend?
Yeah, it sucks. It's never great to lose. I think they made that clear. Post game, again, you felt the vibe of just an opportunity missed and a moment that was not seized. And I think that's tough to go home with, especially for fans that are out there screaming and saying. And it's tough to go home with a loss, but you play probably your most important game of the season. You cannot lose the season series to Kansas City on Wednesday.
Yeah. So we'll get back to our good friends on the other side. But Oscar, how are you feeling?
I can barely talk right now. If you hear my voice, that's the repercussions of Saturday. It's definitely not the same. Um, I don't know. A lot of frustration, a lot of I don't know, I don't even just questions. Like, why do we keep playing the same way we're playing and then nothing's giving a result? So, yeah, I don't know. It's confusion, I guess.
Jeremy.
I am strangely optimistic, gentlemen. We lost, but I thought in a lot of ways might be some of the best we've played all season. Unfortunately, doesn't get us the result, and ifs and sentimental victories and all that doesn't help the points and the standings and the table. But I saw some things I think we can build on. Maybe we're starting to see City 2.0, but still a lot of, like Oscar said, questions and things that we've got to talk about as this team tries to turn it around.
Yes, excellent. So I guess the first thing, let's talk about the roster and the starting lineup. Was there any surprises, or was there any players that you saw that you're like, oh, here we go again?
Yeah, so it was reported on Wednesday last week that Roman Berkey was physically cleared, medically cleared to participate in all soccer activities. Olaf said he had a chance of starting. Of course, Ben Lunt got the nod. The expectation is that Roman will start on Wednesday. You also get the guys who did start on Wednesday not starting, Xande Silva and Celio Pompeu, who both came in later as subs. But you also had Akil Watts. I think a lot of the same stuff you've seen, except for Timu Baumgartel on that right side, where he's usually on that left. And, that's usually his home. Him and Watts kind of swapped a little bit. But you had Ostrak, you had Horn playing more of a midfield position, which was kind of odd. But, I think the transition game was much better. You looked at the not even just the lineup, but the tactics also. They had a very high press when San Diego had the ball in their own zone or in their own half to try to get turnovers. It worked a couple times, but the only thing about that is that you then have to sit in a very, very low block on defense because guys like Ostrak and Volum, who are pushing up in that high press, are going to be non-existent in the defensive transition. So now you have your back four just hoping and praying to make a play. I asked Olaf about it after the game. The answer he gave me is that that's how soccer's played. That's his exact word. I asked, you had the high press when San Diego had the ball in their own zone, and then you kind of sat back and waited for attacks in your own zone. What went into making that decision? He said that's how soccer's played. The consensus was that it was different than how they played before. So I guess they weren't playing how soccer was played before that. But that is the tactics that they used yesterday were a little bit different. And yeah, again, I think I'll nod to what Jeremy said earlier. You saw some things that were better. I think that high press, the Carnell-esque press, was good because when you have such a solid back line that should be super solid, and when you're going to have Roman Berkey back, it's going to work against some teams like San Diego. I think come summer transfer window.
Yep. So coming back to the first half of the game, right? So that was, we pretty much have seen in the past few games, we always get two City teams depending on which half we're talking about. So for the first one, probably for you, Jeremy. So you thought that City were probably the more aggressive team at first. Um,
Um, yeah, I think it starts with aggression. I think going back to the lineup for just a split second, the biggest thing that caught my eye was Noedu Leuven, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But he missed again due to personal reasons, as Olaf said after the match. No estimated timetable for when he'll return. We'll probably just have to leave it at that, out of respect for the Leuven family. But that all said, it was evident from the early going, we were going to press, and it wasn't just a half-hearted press. We saw right away pressing into and beyond the San Diego 18, pressing them back to their corner flag early, getting corner kicks, forcing mistakes, trying, almost forcing their keeper into some mistakes with playing out of the back. So that was good. I think Ostrak playing in the 6 role surprised me with how effective he was disrupting play in the first half, led the team in interceptions at the halftime break, and was really instrumental in progressing the ball through the middle of the field, almost like a Leuven, right? Disrupting it on the defensive end, pulling the strings, leading the attack, helping Vollum and Hartle get involved. And, City had 8 shots in the first half as a result of some of that good play. So at least as, not stealing anybody else's thunder, but I was happy in during the halftime break. I would have liked a goal, but otherwise happy.
Yeah, so I rewatched the game, so I have a few thoughts about that one, but I'd like to hear what Oscar has on that initial first half.
I mean, it was a lot better than what we have seen, to be honest, but it doesn't give enough at the end of the day. And I mean, doing better and being okay with doing better, it's not gonna take us to playoff. It's a step. It's a step in the right direction, but I think we were also doing it like halfway. I know Jeremy's saying that he saw the big pressure coming up, but I don't think I saw the full pressure that we used to see. There was some commitment, but it wasn't the full commitment. I remember Teuscher, Klaus, even Ostrak, like last year when it was like a full pressure, they were going like bulldogs to that ball. Like they were insane. They look out like a bull, like a horse. I don't know. Like they were something possessed that it will go. I want that ball. These times they're more hesitant. If you see the runs and the pressure that Teuscher does, he's very hesitant on when to pressure and when to not press. So I'm not sure it's enough. And that's why like you saw San Diego actually playing keep away in a corner and toying around with the defenders for a couple of times with our pressure, like couple of times. So I don't know. It just a little bit of yes, we got in the right direction. We're trying to press, but at the same time was inconsistent. The block was not unified. So when they released that first line of pressure, there was 30 yards of free dribbling for them to go in the attacking zone. And yes, that's why like you have to go and sit the block back because you don't have that transition in to stop the midfielder, the mid of the game. So like yes, you have to drive back. But I had some issues with the formation since the beginning, and this is gonna be a topic. Everybody's gonna comment different on what I think, but I do not. I don't understand why Jaro played the last defender.
Yeah, I mean, like another tactic.
I'm just because I mean he did it good in the cup game, yes, but because he had another other players around him. But this time you had Timo, and that he has been playing as a last defender. Why do you need to change that on something that he has been working? Okay, you put in Yaro as a last defender, a player that yes is triggered to make mistakes. He's not perfect. He's not the most talented player with the ball. He will make mistakes. Do you want to put him as a last defender? that leads to a big trouble? No, I wouldn't. I want to have something that is going to have a backup in case that those things happen. We do it all the time with Watts. We do it all the time with Hebert. So why do we expose Jaro in such a way? Yes, he made a mistake and he had to have that responsibility of that, especially in that second goal. But if he does that in that moment and has the last defender behind it, nothing happens.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, I'm gonna show something real quick on my screen. I'm gonna share it real quick.
As long as we stay in the first half.
Of course. So the first half, you really saw an abundance. This is a little whiteboard tool I got, a little new thing here. So honestly, you saw the high press. So you have your three guys up front. Let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. You almost played a 3 top, or you had guys coming backwards on the wings, and then had Klaus coming up more, right? On the high press, everyone's going up. Everyone's going up, and everyone's attacking the ball. Everyone's attacking the ball, right? And then once San Diego gets possession, it's immediately, like Oscar said, you're giving them 30 yards of space. Let's say this is a San Diego player right here. San Diego player has the ball going towards the net, going towards City's goal, and you have your back three. You have Baumgartel, you have Yarrow, and you have Hebert, right? Instead of challenging and trying to press this man like they kind of have all season, they changed their defensive tactic a little bit. Instead of pressing, they dropped back and let him come in almost all the way to the edge of the box and then try to block the shot there. And it was so much different than what I've seen before from this defense, where they were so aggressive on the outside of the box, and they weren't letting these shots come off, and they weren't letting the possession happen. And I think it was a little odd to see that defensive switch, but it might have just come along with it might have been a byproduct of the high press, not having those midfielders back when you need them.
Well, it's a change in marking strategy and marking style. Usually, we're a zonal marking team. In this game against San Diego, we were playing basically man-to-man defense. It was one-on-one all over the pitch. And so it led to larger channels and a lot of more space in behind if they were able to get the ball. But I'd argue that we did a good job in the first half because they only had one shot in 0.05 XG. They had one. So it worked.
Yeah.
Right. So it worked there.
And that you have to give kudos to Olaf. And I don't give kudos to Olaf too much. But I'll give kudos in that moment.
In the first half, yeah.
His first half, what happened on the first game of San Diego? They destroy us on the width of the pitch, right? Like the wings, they were going at it. They were destroying us, getting behind lines. Nothing this game went wide. Even on the broadcast, they said it, like nothing's going wide for San Diego. They were being forced to play middle and playing in the center. And Chucky couldn't see the ball. He got always under pressure. Dreyer, every time that he touched the ball, he had to cut in to get support and nothing on the wings, nothing outside. So that was a great strategy from the get-go. They did recognize it, what was San Diego's strength, and forced it. So first half, it does what they were supposed to do, but at the same time, like we spend a lot of time and a lot of energy in that part of the strategy. Well, what happens in the second half, and we will touch that, but that's what it leads to, that those mistakes leads to all those different situations where second half is completely different than first half, because you're spending so much energy on that block defensively, trying to keep everything so neat that you don't get enough in the second one.
Yeah, and so but I rewatched it. So I rewatched the game probably twice because I'm that crazy. But I was starting to see that if it was actually San Diego's tactic, that knowing that City has played a lot of their first team guys against Omaha, and then after that having to kind of drop a little bit more during the first half to let City come in, have the high press to kind of instill the tiredness of it. Because as you can see, I forget the guy that first scored the goal on the second half. That was his second time that he came into a game and he scored in the second half as well. So
was-
just seeing it looks
it
like
looked-
San Diego kind of maybe held back a little bit, try to kind of invite City and says, hey, let's see what you guys can do. And then the second half, it was ours because you saw a complete different game from there.
Yeah. It was
And from
Milwaukee
what Oscar
was-
was saying as well, too, is like we all praise City, you know, their defensive, you know, the team that has allowed the less goals. We have our head coach is an extra defensive coach, but we rely so much on the defense that if you rely on your defense for 90 minutes of a game, something is going to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's where we allow the other teams to get the opportunities to score. So
Yeah.
so that's why a lot of people were happy on that first half, because San Diego most likely was like, hey, you guys already played 90 minutes, and Josh and defense have played the full 90 minutes a few days ago. So it's like, hey, come to us,
Yeah.
and then we'll see what the second half looks like.
Yeah.
And
to answer
that was
Caleb's
my take.
question real quick. I mean, I think I don't think it's hesitancy because of that high press in the first half, because you have less support from your midfielders, and you can't, like I said, they drop back more, because if you get caught upfield as that center back and you let someone through, they have a free shot on goal against Ben Lund, and that's just not what you want. I think it's that. I don't think it's more being afraid of injuries. I think it's more the fatigue in the second half, and the lack of midfield defending in the transition in the first half.
Yeah, but if we also ask our defenders to move up so much, not knowing that we do not have a CDM that will come back and help, then that adds more pressure to the defense for
That's
them
the only
not
thing.
to have
That's
to
why.
drop back.
That's why I would prefer to see Volum play up as a pressing midfielder, and then have Ostrak come back as a 6, as more of a defending and transitional piece, because he played transitional and then he went all the way to the box and he got caught.
Yeah, and that's why they
I'd
got
see
that.
it different. I see the hesitation more a mental hesitation, a something that has been dug to them by the coach, and that's where I'm going with. I don't like that Olaf's strength is to build a block and be successful, not conceding goals. He is not successful in a high press. That's why he didn't start since the beginning of the season playing a high press. He wanted to have his block. Now he's being forced because of all the fans and everybody saying like, "Hey, where's the high press? Where is the style that we were supposed to manage and be our style?" So now he's giving up into that a little bit, but he doesn't know how to motivate their players into that. And I feel like Cornell had that mentality to turn his players into, like I said, dogs or bulls, like just go at that as a madman and win that ball. You don't see that mentality in these players. You see it different. And I think it's just the speech, the pet talk, the knowledge that Olaf is given to them is different and sets that mentality down. Sometimes it shocks me to see Toy Shirt, because I can see it that he wants to go all in, but something's telling him not.
Which is scary.
I think it's. I do think that it's a change in style of pressing and counter pressing for this club. So seeing that kind of rabid dog energy where you're just going to go and balls to the wall, all out press under Cornell, that was great. But you can't do that for 90 minutes. At least I don't think that's a feasible way. So what I think we're seeing, and maybe we can disagree or not, but is a more controlled press. But the control is making it look like they're scared to fully commit. But to me, it's just them trying to maintain responsibility. And for me, I'm not so much mad about the press. The thing that had my biggest problem with the first half and even into the second half is we get shots, we create decent looks. And it's either we get into the dangerous positions and we take too many touches and miss the opportunity, or we just don't convert the shots. We had 8 shots in the first half. None of them super threatening and none of them extremely dangerous, really testing the San Diego keeper. And that to me is the bigger problem. We can talk about pressing all we want, but if we aren't putting balls in the net when we have our opportunities, you let the team hang in the game to a point where they grow into it. which we'll get to, you pay and you lose, and that's what
Yeah.
Saturday night was.
Yeah.
What I'll say to that,
100%.
what I'll say to that is that Olaf talked, a good question from a good friend Ashton Fry over on Fry Talk, mostly on Instagram. She has a great question about like having better chances to shoot and potentially in certain situations not taking that shot, because we had two polar opposite strikers that game. You had Center Teuscher who would refuse to take a shot, and then you had Shaw Klaus who would take the shot, but maybe a step before he had an opening, right? And I think what Olaf said to that was, I think it's a good point. You can see their goal. They took it from an extremely difficult angle. So yeah, I think so. Or in some moments, make it a little bit too complicated when we finish a little bit earlier, or first it up on the second touch. So he's saying maybe play it a little quicker in some situations, and sometimes you need to get better quality shots, because you see a guy like Shaw Klaus just taking everything on net, which sometimes you need. And you see a guy like Cedric Teuscher just not putting anything on that.
I think that's good point for the first half. I think we're probably missing this a little bit of the selfishness from our strikers. Is that maybe something I'm not seeing? Because one is that, and the other, I think Klaus is still doing way too much for his position. We shouldn't be expecting him to be trying to score goals, but also to come back in the midfield to try to cover as well. No wonder why he needed to be subbed, because he was too tired. It looks like a lot of the players are playing out of position. Horn was another one as well that we did not bring in to play on the wing. But I'm starting to think is that, the question mark that we had, that where maybe Olaf did not trust the players that he had on staff to be able to play the type of football he is. So he's kind of sticking up to what's available now. Because
I've wondered that all season. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Because I think that's the only thing that I have as a question.
No,
is that
I have wondered that all season. That's why going into the last transfer window, I asked him how he evaluated his squad. How close are they to being able to play what he wants to play? Do you have I even point blank asked, do you think you have the players to play the way you want? He said yes. And, not this past the post game, but leading into the game, I even asked him at that press conference, hey, transfer window just closed. What are we looking for in the summer? Are there positions you guys have identified? Now I get he's not going to just outwardly say, oh yes, we need this, this, and this. He's not going to give me his shopping list, right? That's not what he's going to do. But you've got to think outside of, so what do we know? Right wing back, right? We need fullbacks. That's one area he's consistently talked about. But if we are not putting the ball in the goal, and we know we are not, we generate a lot of shots, but they're not great quality, 17th in all of MLS in non-penalty expected goals per shot. I don't know what to say, because there's more than just fullbacks and defenders that we need.
Because you also had...
I want to touch base a little bit. So you guys were talking about the forwards and not being selfish and stuff, but so let me ask you this. So when you're a forward, you need momentum, you need consistency.
Yep.
How often are forwards touch the ball in good positions to score?
they shouldn't be touching that too much.
We're not.
No,
and Klaus has even said that.
We
Oscar.
should be touching it a lot, but we don't.
Right.
So, my point is, Klaus and Teuscher, they need confidence. How you gain confidence? Getting good touches, getting the ball often enough to dribble, take one out, and try to take a shot, or connect with a 1-2, or things like that in dangerous zones.
Yeah, but not in the midfield.
Correct. We have never give Klaus, I think this year, a ball in the last third that is open for him to take one touch and take a shot that is open to take a shot. There all the time, there's 2 or 3 defenders behind him, and he tries to make a cut or something. And now he's starting to not even make those cuts because he's trying to rush every move. because he thinks that's the only ball that he might get in the entire game.
Yeah, I think
Because
one thing
it's
I also
it's just not continuously developing to have a forward. I'll have a chance, and then the next chance, and then the next chance is more of I have a lot of pressure. I get this ball, I might not get it again.
Yeah, and Mo, you touched on that, like Klaus having to play midfield sometimes. I saw multiple times Ola Melberg motioning for Tomas Ostrak to get up the field, saying, get up, get up, get up. He was motioning, you need to move up. We need to press, right? And that I mean, you're playing more of an offensive midfield there. But then you also have Olaf, like, I don't know. You also have the refusal of your midfielder or defenders to flip the field. There were so many times where Watts or Horn were open, at least 5 times in that first half, where if you switch the field, you start to get a chance. You get a cross in, you maybe get a header chance, right? Or you get a cross in to the outside of the box, you get it to a guy like Toyshirt, you get it to a guy like Hartel, and you get a good shot on goal. But no, instead of switching the field, they're kind of doing these connect the dot passes where I have to be within 20 feet of you and I have to kick it backwards in a 20-degree angle to get the ball to you. It's impossible for me to kick a long ball to Akil. It's impossible for me to get it to Horn. Like, I don't know. It's the reluctance to flip the field what was really surprising to me, because that's kind of been, there were so many chances where, you know, you're just like, come here. You know, Olaf is doing it. I'm doing it in the press box. Like, come this way. Like, you need to flip the field and get a transition game going. But no, they were just so stagnant in the midfield sometimes. It was tough.
Real quick. So Oscar, to your point about the strikers not getting service, I do want to share with you, and I thought this was really interesting because we didn't have a show. We haven't had a show since before the Omaha match. So Klaus scored against Union Omaha in that 2-0, or was it 2-0? Yeah, 2-0 win over Omaha in the Open Cup. After the game, Klaus was asked about scoring and the thing with the offense, and he said, as in terms of the attack, these are the kinds of things we have to improve. We have to find these moments more often especially in tight games. I don't think we are creating enough, especially in the MLS games. They're tough opponents. The teams are good. We have to be able to find solutions. I don't think in the moment we are. And then he specifically said, it's difficult for me as a striker because I depend on the team to create chances for me. And as I say, we have to go to the training ground and work on these things and find solutions. So I thought that was extremely telling from Klaus on where this team is in terms of developing a consistent attack and an outcome in the final third.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like people want Klaus to score goals from half the field, because I guess that's where he's getting the ball. And then when he gives the ball back bad, then everybody's digging on him like, oh, well, he's not connecting passes. But it's like, you're basically setting him up for failure.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes they rush the pass. Sometimes yes, I get that, because you playing as a striker that has zero confidence, that wants to rush in everything. Yes, they're professional. They should get better. They should do. Yes, we so, but mentally it's tough. And if you don't give him a good options for it, it's not going to happen. Where did he score the goal against Omaha? Where did he receive the ball?
Open run.
On an open run, facing the goal, and having one defender just in front that he could took on to open himself a space for it and take a good shot. Yeah. What did he do? He did it and he scored.
Right. Major difference in receiving the ball 20 yards from goal with energy to make a move versus getting the ball 60 yards from goal or 40 yards from goal and having to carry it to the 18. Because by the time, as you've said time and time again, Oscar, by the time you get to the 18, he's gassed. He can't make the move. He doesn't have that energy. His legs are spent. He's got to look to lay it off.
Shots.
Yeah. And did you see what happened on his play? Did you see what happened on his play on the one that he had almost like a 1-on-1 in the goal and the box? Yeah. He had to make a 25-yard run to get that ball. It's different when you only have to do a 10-yard run for that ball. Because I was like shocked. I was like, why he didn't cut in? He already was on 1-on-1. He's talented enough to make a cut and have wide open option, but he rushed the shot because he was gassed.
Yep, and that's what they do. And I think, and just bring it back to that Omaha game too. If you watch, I don't know if any of you catched it, but when Leuven was playing, right, he
Mhm.
had the ball for I think for probably like 10, 15 seconds. You could see the frustration because he was looking for left or right to open, but he couldn't see no one move. So everybody was
Yeah.
just waiting to receive the ball. And if you, unfortunately, they're not going to have replays, but you could see the frustration on his face. I think I was talking to someone when I showed him, look at him. He was throwing his arms down and then passed the ball out of frustration. That is kind of the example that shows the midfield connection is missing, like 110%. Um, where Morales, that's, they're not playing, unfortunately, but he was, doing his work as the CDM. But the creative midfielder to be able to connect defense and offense is not there. Upstrike, he's the running guy, creative. He will do the hard work of it, but we're missing that maestro in the middle that kind of help the transition.
Yeah. So
And that's why we're
Ostrak
missing.
is doing very good on
Yeah.
what you're saying, releasing the team from the pressure. Like
Yes.
that first moment where we win the ball and they need an outlet, Ostrak was doing it perfect. He was the outlet. He received the ball, and he was finding great turns with his back against the wall. He was turning very well to releasing that pressure. And then to your point, yes, the next pass goes to the most talented player, technically, or one of your most talented players to be creative. But when he turns around, he has Klaus in the middle of the field, Teuscher on the middle of the field, and then Hartel behind him. That doesn't help.
Yep. And
No.
there's all your
and
goals
then
are
behind, like either half or
Mhm.
behind you when you already make a great turn. Then you have on your width, you didn't have any talented player today, Saturday to develop play.
yeah.
And
That
that's the point. Like, do we just don't want to go and score goals because we had players? Why we didn't have Sunday that had a good game against Omaha? Why didn't put Celio that he was sort of rested, or I don't know, like I just don't understand what the selection of the team is to the purpose to score goals. Because Klaus and Teuscher and Hartel are not going to score goals by themselves.
true.
It's been proven. They're not Messi. They're not Neymar. They're not Ronaldo's. They
Mhm.
need support and they need good balls to put there.
Yeah. So I guess so. If you were to grade the first half between 1 and 5, uh, we'll start with you, Charlie. 1 to 5
I'd
grading.
say 3.5. Again, I think you get a 4. Or if you get a goal, you get a 5. You get 2 goals. Because there's
Okay.
8 shots in that first half. You have chances. But again, you either are taking too long or you're just not, or you're taking not that extra touch. Olaf said maybe you need to take that extra touch, or maybe you don't do. And I guarantee he's referring to Teuscher maybe taking that extra touch and then Klaus not. I think those chances bump it down, but the high press worked very well. And if that was part of San Diego's game plan, then touche. Then it worked in the second half. But first half, I would say 3.5 out of 5.
All right, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth between 3.5 and a 4. I mean, Charlie, you said it all. The press worked. We generated some chances. They weren't extremely dangerous chances, but we generated 8 of them. On the defensive end, we did all that while only letting up 1 shot. I'm almost leaning towards a 4.
All right. And before we ask Oscar, for those of you in the chat, make sure you go and press the thumbs up, and also make sure you share this fun episode. So algorithm and all that fun stuff. But Oscar, let us know what grades for City.
I would stay with right in the middle. I'll go to 3.
Okay.
I just don't. I mean, yes, we had control of the game because we did have to control the game, but we didn't do anything with it. At the end of the day, we didn't do anything with it. We created. You said there was 8 shots, but how many of those were actually options to score that we were like, oof, we almost scored, maybe one.
Two on goal. So 1/4 of your shots were on goal in the first half.
But not even the ones on goal were not that risky.
No,
I
they
think there
weren't.
was one that it
0.33
was
expected
risky.
goals.
But the one that made me almost jump more in the cage was the one from Toy Shirt from long range. And it was not even that close, but it was something that everybody was like, finally, we did something, you know, like the other ones were like, oh, half shots and things like that. And just,
and Hartle's free kick in the first half was close too.
I mean, you talk about to harp on that a little bit. The set plays have been so much different since Leuven left. You had 6 corners, and all of them resulted in immediate clearances. It's just, that's rough. You'd love to see some chances generated on those corner kicks. You know, you get the fans hyped up. You can go like this all you want. You can get excited. And if you don't create chances off of it, it doesn't matter. Frankly, like it's really tough to have 6 corner kicks in the whole game and have nothing off of them. No expected goals off of them. Let me see. First half,
all
corners.
these tall players.
They had 3 corners in the first half, and again, nothing. Nil.
And we have all these 6+ guys, so at least you get a header.
Yeah, and you know, and you talk about the guys who got headers. Kyle Hebert had a chance on a corner towards the end of the game. Why is Kyle Hebert? I like Kyle Hebert. He scored the goal, but why is Kyle Hebert the guy to take the header in that situation? Why isn't it Klaus? Why isn't it?
But he's the one who attacks the ball the best.
Well, okay,
right now it is.
He runs very well on attacking the ball. The other guys that they're tall, they just wait for the ball to land on their head.
So it was a set piece in stoppage time. Everybody is forward at that point except for Lund. The first chance on that went off of Wallam's head and hit the post. Hebert got the second bite at the apple.
No, so Jeremy, I'm not talking about the goal. There was one.
I'm laughing because I can't believe
the one that he sent over.
I know
in the second half. That's the one I'm talking about.
Hang on. Klaus headed it into the damn ground and over the goal. Which is worse, Klaus or Wallam? Anyway,
Wallam. Klaus. That was what he scored like that once, right?
Klaus did 101 on headers to score goals in the close range,
right,
to the ground.
Yeah,
and that's 101. The problem is like the ball and the ground was too slick or something. Like that ball doesn't technically not supposed to bounce that high, but he did what we were supposed to do.
Right.
Every time when I was growing up, every coach told me when you go on a header to score a goal that close range, you head it to the ground.
Yep.
Okay, fair. Hey, yes. I'm all for spreading the knowledge. I'm just asking. Charlie, go back to your point. I want to make sure.
It's those soccer balls. They're too light these days.
Yeah, I mean, like again, with Leuven out,
beach ball.
Of course, Leuven played on Wednesday, and then he doesn't play this week. Not even on the bench. Might have gone back to places that aren't St. Louis right now. I'm not sure. I'm not going to speculate on that. But the set pieces have been, especially the corner kicks, have been so lackluster. You've scored no goals off of corners this year. Mm-hmm. And you had 6 corners in the game, 3 in the first half, almost a 0 XG off of them. You talking about, in the second half, your guy from the corner is Kyle Hebert, who then sends it over when dueling the center back for San Diego. And then, of course, you have Wallam on the first touch off the post, and then Kyle Hebert puts it home. But that corner, again, like the intention for that corner kick is to go to Wallam, and it didn't work. It just so happens that the linesman, that the assistant referee is not in correct position, and that they can't see a potential offside, and they let the goal stand because they don't want to go to VAR with 2 minutes left, right? But I think the way that they play right now on the set pieces, it feels like, well, maybe we'll get a pass off of it. Maybe we'll gain possession. It's not a hockey face-off. This isn't supposed to be 50-50. You're supposed to create a chance, a definitive chance. You get a corner kick because you either deflected it off a player in the attacking zone or someone messed up. But either way, you are on the press, you're attacking, and then you just give it back to the other team. It's tough because you look at the numbers, and they've had the chances. You always hear Olaf say, we have the chances because of the set plays, I think he's talking about. The corner kicks, we had the chances, and we just didn't do anything with them, right? Yeah. City just didn't do anything with the corner kicks except for that last, 95th 94th minute goal from Kyle Hebert.
Yeah, and so I think for those, I see it two ways. Either our team and the corner coaches, assistant coaches, or the practices, the repetitions are not, those tactics are not working, or fatigue, or that San Diego was just better prepared for those. So that's when I see corner kicks, and I don't see at least your actual player getting a hold of the ball first and having an occasion. I think for me, it's probably their practice repetition, because corner kick is all practice. You practice what you want to do, and you let the defense figure out how to stop you. These are showing way too easy. And that's why Kyle Hebert is able to get it, because he's a defender. So any ball that leaks out of the box, it's either him or whoever is on the other side to get the ball. And the free kick. So now the question that even Romo put on here, right? We know that our specialist for the free kick, it's Leuven, right? And he's the maestro that's supposed to be in the midfield, and he's not there. Who in our team is deciding to say, hey, apparently we're a next man up team. So who is going to take that chance to say, hey, Leuven, I got this? Or
Hartel's
ACD,
taking the majority.
Well,
yeah, but he's not really right.
I
That
mean,
is not really.
Everybody
he's-
would think Hartel will be, but his executions are not being very
No.
good.
It
But
used to
I
be
also
Indy.
think, and and they gave a little bit to Celia in some point too. But I want to go more on what Mo is saying. I think the strategy, the set piece work is not there. I think we're just saying we're gonna cross it, try to find it. There's not really a setup play. I don't see anything. And I remember that Friday that we went to watch and support them a little bit. I was watching the set piece work. They didn't score one goal.
Ooh.
And the entire practice on a Friday, where you're supposed to be defenders only stand still while your attackers attack the ball so they can make the runs and score. But they did not score one goal. So I have a problem where we don't have enough. We focus basically on, and I'm gonna repeat myself, on having a solid block defensively. And that's what we work the entire week. And then we have no creativity to on the open play. And we don't have creativity in the setup pieces either.
Yeah, and then that defense that you practice all week falls apart in the second half.
Because they're tired.
Yeah. So we're going to lead to that second half on that part, which I think that's the one everybody's waiting for. So it looks like we're all in the middle side of 1 to 5. We graded at 3, and looks like there's a 4 on that part. So now we're going to the second half, where most of us either don't want to talk about, or that City, I guess, social media has been on fire. So let's start in blocks, right? So the first half of the second half. Jeremy, how your thought on that one? Because everything bad happens after that.
Minutes, let's just say 45 to 70. I'm fine with the second half. We really hadn't really allowed much from San Diego. I'm just looking off camera because I went through and I actually counted shots. They had maybe 6 or 7 opportunities in the second half before, but nothing extremely dangerous, nothing that was super alarming. We seem to have created just as much opportunity in that time. So it felt like San Diego was starting to slowly maybe grow into the game. I was looking for subs. I didn't, I will fully admit, I didn't pay attention to the bench on the starting lineup roster that was sent out. So I was wondering when we were going to make changes on the back line, only to realize later that Nilsson wasn't available because he's hurt again. Just buy him out already. But anyway, but yeah, early, first half of the second half, I was fine.
Also, by the way, little insider report. I'm in the underbelly of the stadium going to the press conference after the game. I see Nilsson and Alfredo walking side by side from the elevator with their families. Didn't see him like limping or anything. Probably just a not 100% type thing, I guess.
Oh,
I mean, your groin doesn't make you limp.
That's fair.
Or abductor or whatever he has. It just,
Oscar.
I mean, yeah. What's the question?
Anything first half of the second half? Because I know we're gonna talk for hours probably after that.
The last third. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was kind of the message that something was gonna go wrong. It was building up to something, because first half, even when they had a little bit more possession, it was not as abrupt as the second half. The second half was literally just San Diego keeping the ball, figuring out how we're going to find the spots. Mm-hmm. And the first 10, 15 minutes were San Diego trying different things, right? Not being successful, but controlling the game. I don't think we were in any kind of creating trouble for them in those. It was just slowly saying San Diego's taking over, it's getting deeper, to the point that we start forcing errors on the back and we go there.
Also, just real quick, by the way, recently, last time I checked before, like last week, there's 29 subscribers on YouTube. There's now 42. So shout out. Appreciate it, guys. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We'll get some special stuff coming. Probably fall-ish around the 50th episode. Maybe something cool will happen then. So keep peeled, and remember tune into maybe every episode before then. You never know.
If we get to 100, Charlie doesn't go to bed that early.
Oh my god!
Oh, we were waiting for that one.
Oscar, I'm taking college classes, man.
Oh man,
I got finals, Oscar.
Oh man, he was not gonna let you live that one up, but
I got finals.
But also talking about giveaway, there's that background, but there's quite a few stuff that we can give away. So we might have to come up with something fun once we hit 50.
And also the viewership right now live 76. So that's a lot of people.
Yes, just listening to us rumble. Yes,
yeah, that's kind of crazy. 152
Hey, where was
eyeballs.
the queue? I didn't change my hat. Hold on.
The synchronized hat games.
So it looks like there was not much activities. I think much to talk about on the first half of the second half, right?
I was getting ice cream. I'm not gonna lie. I was in the upper press box area just getting some soft serve, and I just didn't miss much.
Well, see, I was getting Pappy's ribs, so I missed the first 5 minutes of the half, but I was happy with the ribs.
Well, you all have to show up. I was stuck at home.
I was hungry. What can I say? We like food.
They gave us in the press box. They gave us.
I mean, I to be honest, I wasn't able to watch too much between being in the cage and all that, so I had to rewatch it.
Press box food.
But, yeah.
So, guys, the press box food this week. I know you all are dying to hear about this.
They're all gonna show up.
Oh, I'm riveted.
All right. So the press box food was like a Sunday roast, some egg quiche, and some green beans, with brownies and soft serve.
I'm not that fancy.
And
hey, look, the salmon the week I was there was fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it was so good, dude. Oh my, they treat us well, dude. They treat us well up there. It's gonna. I'm gonna miss it going to the game on Wednesday in the
Charlie, you're not making friends. They're gonna show up now. They'll be like, oh, this is how these guys do.
So the thing is,
and the ones down there suffering, and
no wonder we write nice things about the team. No, I'm kidding.
I'll say this. Okay. Whoa. I'll say this. If anyone has any interest in this kind of stuff, I applied as a 14-year-old and they accepted me, writing for my school paper. Okay, if you do something with a couple buds, start something, write a couple articles. You never know what could happen. Of course, there's a trade-off. I have to be a little bit less of a fan sometimes, and that kind of sucks. But I also get to talk to the players and talk to the coaches and get some cool stuff. So that there's a trade-off, and I think a lot of it's really cool. And I say I will miss the press box, but I won't miss part of it being in the supporter section for the Derby queue. Thanks to Jeremy giving me the ticket.
El trágico.
Yes, and Cody, yes, you were the lucky one. You know, some people, unfortunately, we could not make it to the Berkey. You know, he's been hiding for so long, and all of a sudden, he's showing up in the middle of the day. So, Cody, well done. Just stop rubbing it in because that's not right.
All right. So
okay, yes. So
who's hungry?
Shout out, play the video that everybody's been talking about. Shall we?
Do it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it works because this is a first of a first of a first. And let's see if he's going to make
ever shared a screen on StreamYard. That's crazy.
All right. Looks like it's working. What?
Oh.
All right. So you see all this Y, right? So this is the second goal, correct? So when I was watching the game, and I hate to say it on that part, but yes, as you can see, first of all, I don't understand why Josh is standing right there.
Second goalie.
Because technically you're supposed to be on the line, right? Because you're supposed to protect it, right? But why is Kyle here? And once we play the video, he's going to start saying that he's actually looking back to see if there's anyone else here that's coming back instead of trying to go back to the actual player with the ball, right? And why is Reed standing right here? Anyone can answer those?
What I like to call it is the triangle of love. They're just all great buds. And they were talking about how their day was, and they were like, how's the wife? How's it going, guys? You see that new Pokemon update? Just pulled the Charizard. I think that they're conversing. They're all friends, right? Your teammates, you got to be real close. So I think what it is, they're sitting down for a chat, little cup of tea, and some.
And Oscar, you're a defender. You were a defender, right?
Yeah. So
right?
I mean that I'll tell you like really easy, and nobody's gonna like, oh, you're excusing them. It was a lapse. Everybody lost focus in everything that was happening. First of all, because Josh and his touch, he lost concentration. He made a terrible mistake. So that gets everybody on a shock mode. It was like, holy crap, what just happened? Why did he do that? Right? So everybody started kind of like panic mode, go back. And the first thing that they see is go straight back to the goal because Lund forces Dryer to the outside. So everybody's just focusing on going back to the goal. But what nobody got on that mind on saying, well, we should go press the guy that has the ball.
But those guys are professional. They should not be shocked when somebody someone makes an error. When someone makes an error, you don't go, oh snap. It's
Mo. Tell that to Marco Reus and the goal from Deutscher in LA Galaxy.
Yeah, but he's not a defender.
No,
he's retired.
No, it's just failure to communicate effectively, guys. Yeah. I don't see it any other way. I mean, I don't know how much of it is Reed. This is Reed's first appearance of the season, if I remember right. He hasn't played before this with the first team, right?
Yes.
So he's played a little bit at City 2. I'm sure they've trained, but I think Hebert and Reed are both thinking, oh, we have to cover the middle for a runner. Yaro's trying to play second goalie, which, okay, fine. But what I guess I don't understand is, and again, I have not played beyond high school, so I maybe I don't understand it as much as I would love, but Yaro is initially cuts Dryer off and forces him out wide. If Yaro can peek over his shoulder and know that he's going to have Hebert and Reed both crashing into the box, why does he not just stick with the man? That's the part that I don't understand.
Yeah, but they're not crashing the box. They're actually looking back to see if there's anyone coming in. So, that's why he's going towards the goal. So I will play the video too. But you see, that's the first error, right? Look at Kyle, right? Look at Kyle. Look at this. Bam! All in the air. Why put it in the middle? This is like high. This is like Pee-wee, like CYC soccer, right? Why do we tell our players all the time when you're a defender to not kick the ball in the middle?
Well, so it starts with Lund's pass is bad.
Right.
Lund has a
Yep.
poor pass out wide. Hebert runs out, gets it, panics, and then sends it to Silva, who has 3 defenders around him.
So
This is a
there's the
calamity
first
of
issue here with that I have with Josh here. That's a foul.
error.
Yes.
No matter what you do, a free kick, you might as well give him a free kick here to stand, right? So I think, as you can see here, right, 6, 7, 8, 9, we have all of these red players. Kyle is over there in no man's land. Silva is over here, right?
Okay.
You see how many
Okay,
reds
you
do
go
we
back.
have? What?
Can you go back a little bit?
Oh, right here.
A little more. When Sunday touches the ball.
Yeah.
When Uzande touches the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, right around there, I think.
Yeah.
Or
So you see?
So see
There.
see that. That's poor. He really touched the ball with not even the defender being on him. He was coming to him, but he was not on him. Okay, so keep that in mind, and then follow your
Yeah. So you saw, right? Josh, the bad pass first, and then
Yeah.
Kyle takes it, and then maybe sometime you just kick the ball out, right? Because you have so much pressure. But he kicks the ball right in the middle where Xander, technically he's not a midfielder, so he should not even be this close to the goal. Right?
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
Yes. And as you can see, look, right here, Josh just foul him. We understand that part, right?
Yeah.
But watch again. Why is that
Why
above
Timo
Margaret, right?
is staying there?
Why is this position instead of just crashing the guy shooting the ball one more time?
Yes. Why
Right?
Timo is
And after
only
that-
staying on the line instead of stepping forward to tackle.
Right. So I think that's the part where we were like the hesitation that we were also talking is that part here. I even saw it in the Austin, right? Where we were getting all of the pressure. No one was putting their body on the line, maybe for scared of injury or something. But if you watch the other teams, they are going for the ball no matter what, right? If there's a shot, the ball knocks you out, too bad. But
Guys,
there's still that hesitation.
Whoa.
Yes.
I'm on the phone with MLS Commissioner Don Garber right now. He says the City's going
exclusive.
to win on Wednesday, and then I have to leave right now. Okay, I'm getting this news right now from the Commissioner. Okay.
Hey,
Oh my
Oscar,
God.
get his bottle ready.
Chill out.
Oh, there it is.
Yes, sir.
The
Garber.
bib's
Yes, sir.
missing.
I get you.
Yeah, I gotta fill it up.
Okay, so he told me that not only is City going to win on Wednesday, that they're going to win 10-0. They're going to rig it a little bit, just a little something.
I'm about to
Right.
get
Is it
very
Gerber
loud.
or is it
What's-
Martinez?
Great.
What's he smoking and does he share?
I'm not sure. That's something you'll have to ask him yourself. But he did say I had to go. So I will have a good night, y'all.
Goodbye,
Final
Charlie.
speak today.
Yeah.
Sorry for leaving early again.
And hopefully he sends you the check too.
Yeah.
He did. He sent me $10.
Wow.
He said it was for an Uber.
Monopoly money.
Man.
I think it was
Is it a
$10.
gamble?
It's a gam deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a general allocation money thing.
Okay.
I'm
Garber
hearing that this is the only deal City's gonna make in the summer transfer window too.
Ooh.
geez.
So we got that sorted out, and we are going to. I'm gonna go talk to Tim about that right now. So gotta head out. I'm coming. I'm on my way.
It's
Hey Mo, so
yes.
I don't know if you might not have the image there, but at the end of that, when they score, look, I don't know if anybody noticed the reaction of Wallen, because that tells me where
Right.
everything started. It.
Do you think so? What do you mean by where it started it?
Look who Wallen blames.
Who was he?
No,
blaming?
you don't have it, but he
No, I
starts
don't.
turning around and looking at Zande, and when he does, what he does is like he turns around and says, "Hold the ball, don't flick." He says, "Hold the ball," like straight out, pissed off.
Yeah.
So
And
I
it's
think
like, there was mistakes before, but I think the biggest mistake it happens when we do not hold the ball. It has happened to Deutscher, it has happened to Hartel, it has happened to Klaus, now happened to Sunday. They're in bad positionings yet. But what is the first thing that you're supposed to do when you get the ball? You protect your ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Well-
I think that's why I was trying to kind of show on this part, right? Is that yes, I mean we're hearing, there's the pointing fingers, but
Mhm. Well,
also we have to also make sure that there's multiple point of failures that needs to be addressed, especially in those plays, right? So that's why I recorded this one, is that you saw there was 6, 7, 8, almost like 9 chances that the ball could have been taken out before the first mistake. So I think it's one of those systems where players were making mistakes. There was lack of the wrong position, but also at the same time, some of those players Zender was not supposed to get the ball there, right?
But I guess so. Can you just pull back the freeze frame where he's getting in position to get that ball? Because I guess what I want to know, just in honestly, like, okay, if we say Jean is supposed to hold the ball, if he somehow wins this ball, there are like right there's at least 1, 2, 3 defenders that are going to converge on him. 3 white shirts, unless he's going to be able to one touch that back to, and I'm not sure who that is in the middle there. But unless he can one touch that back, I don't know what he's gonna do there. And so I don't want to say
hold the ball and get a foul.
Yeah. So
Okay,
so that pretty much
fair.
he cannot pass. It's kind of blurry, but
yeah.
Especially when you have your back to the opposite goal, it's one, either you hold the ball or you see how this open space here, pass the ball to the outside, just get it out. But what happened is he actually went towards the middle, right? You see how he tried to backflip?
Yeah.
Right.
He's trying to flick around the defender and run off of his shoulder.
That was the mistake right there. What you have to do usually is pressure, come to the outside. Either you dribble to the corner, right? Or just kick the ball out so that you can cover.
Or what if you go down? Like you feel that guy on your back, you just go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
it.
Yeah.
But that's what we don't do. That's what we don't create enough. We don't disrupt the moments when we getting under pressure. You get the ball and you try to do a flick. We've said it multiple times. We flick the ball so many times and we lose the ball so cheap. Instead of hold the ball, that's the first thing they tell you. Your back is against the goal. You don't try to be pretty. You protect your ball. Yeah. And if you get run over, it's a foul. It's a simple foul.
Yeah, I mean, even seeing this, like you see this setup right here, you almost wonder, like, City should be tactically in a decent enough place to positionally to defend this move. You would think. I mean, it's three almost 4 guys in front of back the ball. Yeah, I mean, you would think that
make the run behind.
Yeah, you feel like that is it's a bad turnover. Yeah, but you still think they should have enough.
Yeah, so that's why I was kind of trying to tell people online, right? Yeah. Yes, so that was like the trigger of all. But what I like to, what we often forget is that sometimes we have the tunnel vision where we see the initial mistake. But guess what? There should be 9 other players, or I guess 4 other players that can almost cover, because right here, he's not the last defender, right?
No.
Right. So even though the back pass was here, but we're still, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players here.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you see, Bam, follow him here. Go towards the ball. Just don't turn your back to see what's going to happen.
I don't get Timo's reaction there.
Yeah, and that's why Ben was on the other side, because he probably did not expect that run to the far post. No. So that's pretty much the goal here that happened for this part here. That's any questions? That's why I was kind of online, talking, and people were saying, no, it's just Josh. I'm like, yes, that's the bad back pass and the foul that he did not make. But there's a sequence of things that could have prevented that
could have avoided that for sure.
Yes. And then after that, there's this is the second goal here, right? So that's a long ball, right?
Yep. They're catching us pressing, though. We're not dropping back to play defense. We're trying to initiate a press.
Yes, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the long ball. That was an awful touch, right? Yes, that was an awful touch to begin with. Do we see other 2 players somewhere?
Yeah, we have again Hebert and Reed. It looks like.
Yeah. So once you see that bad touch, what would you do? Just stand there?
No, you bust your butt back provide
Right?
coverage. You have to.
Yes. And where's the midfielders? Try to see
Well,
what might happen.
They were initiating the press, so there's a huge gap between coverage.
Yes.
So you've got you've got 3 Seattle. It's a 1v1v1, so 3-on-3.
Yeah,
Maybe
so
4-on-3 if you're lucky.
So the CDM, there's no CDM here, right? To kind of
No.
try to cover it. And then after that, there's the awful pass. Yes, that.
So
And like,
there's
look
hold
at
on,
this.
stop it there. You know,
What?
so I'm looking at Heaver because I didn't analyze it before, but look at Heaver. His reaction, he went wide first because he thought, oh, he trusted Lund won the ball. He trusted. He was like, oh, Lund has it. So he was already cheating on, okay, we're leaving because we got the ball, but oh no, we lost it again. So now he's got to go back. He sees on his shoulder that someone's slowly coming in, and that's where he's going to the middle and not to the ball. Play it.
Yeah. So you see how he's wide, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now there's like he shouldn't make anything crazy from that part. And you see after that this. So now they're still waiting. They're still playing zone defense, even though he's going forward. And I think what drives me a little bit more crazy on that part as well is like how the goal happened. It's the near goal post that he was able to score.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he close that angle a little bit more to not give him that opportunity?
Yes.
And then we don't see Josh on the line. You should be next. You should be standing on the goal post. Reed should be either in the middle or the far post, right? And then
I mean,
Kyle should be staying here because there
was a cluster of mistakes and all that. Like it was like mistake after mistake after mistake. So you go, okay, obviously Jaro made a mistake, bad touch.
But the recovery of the things, yes.
Then Lynn, I think he should have had it. In my opinion, he should have had it.
Looks like I didn't see that goal was so much crap that I did not even record towards the end.
And then when Lund goes down and it forces him wide, Jaro needs to step to the ball and get Lund back to the goal. Jaro steps, covering the angle. Lund get back to the goal, and then he's forced. He can't shoot anymore. He has two people in front, Jaro blocking, and the goalie on the goal. Well, okay, we didn't do that, right? So now Lund is there, but he's giving away his line instead of covering the line because he's worried about a pass in the middle. That there's nobody coming to the middle. So why you're not covering your post?
So can I have a go ahead.
Then 4 is Heaver trusting that Lund was having the ball instead of going straight to the ball. That's 4. Then after that, Heaver and Reed just staying in the middle of nowhere watching someone to shoot. So 5 mistakes in one play that initiated with Jaro, yes. But let's cut some slack on some of our players just because they're not our biggest players or we're not the biggest fans of the players. And we're gonna
let's be honest,
at him when you have other responsible players in there that they were supposed to do their job and they didn't do it either.
Yeah, and we have to be honest. He's probably the 4th or 5th string, right, defender. So he's actually staying healthy when our most expensive ones are not staying healthy.
Correct.
So I think the question is that yes, he's a professional, but when I see it myself, maybe as a defender, maybe I defend that a little bit more, Oscar. But when I see the sequence of the play, it's not just that, Josh Jaro made the mistake and then boom, it's a goal, right? It's that it's a sequence that happened that the goal then happened. Exactly. So maybe it's just us looking at a different way of the play it's going, but the talk that we're hearing, trash or IQ soccer, I'm like, guys, give it a break. I mean, if they were trash,
they want to send him to somewhere. I don't know.
God. Yeah, like if you see trash,
the worst thing in the world.
It's like, come on, he's been a professional for 10 years. Most of us have never touched that. So I think those comments is kind of interesting to watch.
And he was saved the team many times. So we only see the bad things, but when he's blocking, when he's
Yeah.
clearing the ball,
Mhm.
doing good breaks, oh, we don't see that, and then he's not a good player, and then right, it's
And
just
we'll say
because
that
lucky.
to every single players. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right now, Josh is on the hot seat, right? But if it happened to Tuchel, if it happens, we'll be doing the exact same thing, right?
Mhm.
It's just happened that he's been on the hot seat here. But let's not forget, if you want to have your defense for 90 minutes save your butt, and you're not scoring on the other side, you most likely going to lose the game than winning it because you ain't scoring goals.
Yeah.
So
And what did they say?
Okay.
The best defense is your offense.
Yep.
We don't have that at this moment.
So, couple questions or thoughts.
I miss those guys.
I almost wonder with Yarrow. So on that play, when you notice, so Yarrow gets in and actually so Lunt comes out, Yarrow falls behind him onto the line to block the goal so that if Dreyer can get onto it, there's somebody blocking the open goal. I almost wonder, because Lunt doesn't have time to get up and look over his shoulder. He just goes up and takes the angle. I almost wonder if he thought Yarrow was still behind him on the line in some respect, guarding the near post. And maybe I'm just throwing out ideas.
It could, but as a goalkeeper, the worst thing you can do is assume someone is there to cover your butt because you're the last man standing. So I think like the whole sequence,
and
maybe it's the experience that's not there, but that's why Kessler is. That's why when he was playing, it was well because he was a little bit more settled at the center back. But now you've put someone that's supposed to be on your bench most of the time, and then week in and week out, he played for Omaha too, right? So fatigue will come into that too.
Well, and to that point, he's played 727 minutes so far this season. That's literally within 50 minutes of his total minutes for all of 2024. And I'm not saying fatigue is an issue, but this is a point where injuries are because, and not that I would want Nilsson in over Yarrow right now, but Nilsson's not available. You don't have another center back on the bench unless you're going to throw Jake Gerwood-Reich in, which maybe you do, but Olaf.
But people say Wenzel, but he has. We don't know his situation, but he has not proven that to the coach, right?
But the Wenzel wasn't even on the bench. Literally, your bench was Betcher, JGR, Joyner, Olivares, Pompeu, and Reed, Silva, and Zielinski. So Zielinski maybe or JGR. Those are your options.
Not a center back, though.
No, but I'm just saying, if overall, that's it. You don't. He didn't leave himself an option other than relying on a tired from midweek Josh Yarrow. That's how we got in the situation in the first place.
It's funny you mentioned that because last year I used to question a lot why we used to make center backs substitutions. But now we're seeing a little bit why. Like they get tired if they're running as much as like in that defensive zone or like in transition way. But last year it was a lot of counters, right, against us. So we have to track back a lot. So that kind of like makes sense why we used to see all those substitutions where we always were switching a center back. One of our subs every game last year was a center back. And I always question that. I was like, why do we do that? Like, you're supposed to keep your center backs out your column, like it's your fort. You build your fort with your center backs, right? But we used to switch a lot, and it's like I was really questioning it. But now it seems like it's a problem of that fitness wise. Like you can hold them at that RPM the 90 minutes, and then they need a switch. And yes, we switch Horn, but then we're not giving breaks to the ones that they play the entire game on Wednesday. Or like, what's missing there?
Yeah, and I think probably some people kind of kill me on that part, but I think when Berkey is playing, we're playing out of the back a lot less frequency than we have been since he's been out. Because if you watch, right, that's why I was saying, that I was surprised that Josh had some of those touches because when Berkey was there, usually he's so pressing up as much, or he has these long balls that the defenders actually have a time to recover, recover the fitness before the ball comes back to them, because there's that long ball already to midfield. So that's why I was thinking, like, there's almost like a different play when Lund is in goal, because we're playing a lot more from the back and the center backs are being asked a lot more. But then when Berkey was there, you see a lot more ball up. Berkey is more adventurous, right? He comes almost all the way to midfield sometime to help, where Lund is more of a stay in close to your box.
So, guys, I want to ask you all a question, and this is not meant necessarily to be an Olaf apologist, but I think it gets into a bigger conversation about roster construction and who you had on the bench. But going back, so we know Yarrow played 90 minutes at the weekend. We know Baumgartel played 90 minutes at the weekend, and we know Hebert played all 90. Guess how many of those guys also played all 90 against Union Omaha? All of them. All three of them. Those are your three center backs in that game. And I understand Olaf said in the middle of the week, we have guys that can play 2 or 3 games in a week. It's all about recovery, but I just don't understand how you don't give yourself some kind of an option. And I'm not saying I want to start somebody from City 2. And maybe it's a matter of not even trusting them in those tight moments, but there's got to be something, right? If Nilsson's going to be out, at least before the day before the game. I'm sure it wasn't a Saturday decision. I don't have any insider information on it, but where's the planning? I don't understand it. Am I crazy?
No, I mean, yeah, we have questioning this before, like how we're building our rosters, why we're exposing ourselves to having to improvise 7 players out of our 11 in positions that they're not their strength. So, I mean, with the center backs, go to my point, like you expect your center backs to play a full 90 normally. And even if you play Wednesday, Saturday, you might be able to do that. But the thing is that we bring in so much pressure to them with all the 60, 70 minutes defending style that it wears and tears that defense. Now, if we don't build it like that, I mean, yes, we're a lack of depth right now, and it could be the excuse of it, because if we didn't have another 5 on the bench either. So we had JGR, but we all know that JGR is there for the pictures and for and it's not against the player. It's the situation.
No chance.
It's the situation. Like, he's not getting chances. He's not been looked at. And then you don't really have another center back or anyone else. Like, what happened to Wenzel? Wenzel got hurt that we were not told.
He didn't play for City too.
Mikina, I believe Mr. Gabriel Mikina is one of the best center backs in City 2, and I think on the league, on the MLS Next Pro, I think he's very good at performance. If you know, in 100% Jeremy, if you know you're gonna be short a center back, surprisingly, because didn't we have like 7 center backs at the beginning of the season?
We did.
So why you don't have one to replace it?
Yeah. Or you know what? And don't hate me for saying this, guys, but let me think. Horn started the game, right, and was replaced by Reed, if I remember correctly. And I hate to suggest this, but is it change the system, or do you move the pieces around, move Vollum back to left wing and figure something out there? Put Watts instead of right back, put Watts as the center mid, and then let Joyner start at right wing back or left wing back. It doesn't matter. Like, there's got to be options, because then at least, and I hate to say it because I don't want to take Horn out because he's played well, but then at least it gives you an option at center back. Like there's ways to and because if he doesn't want to call anybody up, I'm going to argue there's ways to still manipulate the available players to make it make more sense instead of forcing all these subs. Or if you're going to do that, even change shape, because John De Silva should not be playing as a 6.
Well,
That's on the
Daniel is
coach.
hitting it right there. You did have 4 center backs available, and you decided to put them all in different places.
Yeah,
because I mean, Hebert can play center back, but you decide to use him the entire game somewhere else. Well, then you got Yato, you have Horn, you have Timo. Even like Watts could fill in a rough situation. You can put him on it. So you build your squad and you put all that in, knowing that you were struggling to have a sub if something happens. So that's one thing. And then the other one, if you know that, what don't you really? You said you were adaptable. You said you could play different formations. If you knew you don't have a center back available on your bench, why to play 3 in the back? Play 4, right? Play a formation 4, 2 center backs, your right wing, your right back, and your left back. And then you have a sub. When they get tired, you can bring one in, and you pick whoever it is. It's either you say Jotto because he played 90 minutes, and you put Timo on Horn, or you put Timo on Hebert, or I mean, you have possibilities when you change the formation. But he only likes to change the formation when you're in the last minutes of the game and you're struggling. And when there's nothing to really correct anymore.
Yeah. I'm still I think I'm still stuck in the midfield. I think for me that's what we're missing the most on my part. Because and we keep on saying, defense.
But we're
But at
missing
the
or
end,
we're using it wrong.
Yeah, and we're playing the same players also that are playing day in, day out, right? So that means these are defenders did play against Omaha, right? And it's not like Omaha was a walk in the park. They had to work for it as well. So it's just hard to see that we have that much center backs. And it worked at first, right? The starting of the season, we were all praising those exam guys that says, hey, we only allow 2 goals and this and this and this and that. But guess what? As they play more and more and more every week, something is about to happen. If fatigue comes, we all know fatigues will mess up with your mental, right? It takes one mistake and then it becomes 2, 3, 4, 5.
So
I still laugh at people that was, there was the whole mental thing celebration, right? Where everybody was saying, oh, mental is important and all that. But yet, when things start to go a little south, the mental part is out the window.
Goes away.
Yeah.
So then are we, so guys, are we talking and saying essentially at this point, the reason for our issues go back to injuries? Because I don't know if Olaf says, because here's the thing, Olaf says
it's part of
the plan. It's part of the conversation, but Olaf says, "Oh, well, playing Vollem in the center midfield has been the plan all along." I don't understand that because he's been one of the best fullbacks we've had, probably. And when he went missing for large portions of the game, I thought on Saturday. So I don't get that. Yeah, we know we don't have depth in the midfield. We don't have depth at center back right now, it seems, but I don't understand. To your point, you said, Mo, we're not changing plans, or was it Oscar? Or somebody said we're going to be adaptable. I forget who. Olaf said it, and Lute said it. But at what point changing it? Why do we not change shapes to give ourselves a better chance at having some depth instead of forcing Jean Day into a 6 role when he's not a 6? He's never played. He's a winger. He's not a defensive midfielder. That
was a winger move. Why he did.
No, I feel like the subs changed that game in a bad way for us. We forced too many people into a run,
and their subs changed in their ways.
Yeah, because they put a player that scored 2 goals back to back as a sub.
So let me so going to that, yes, Jeremy. So
sorry.
if I was Olaf in this moment, that game I would have probably put Zielinski on the right, play a 4-3-3. I will change the formation straight up because I know what I have. I would have put Zielinski on the right, Timo and Hebert, and Horn on the left.
Okay.
I was
Yeah,
surprised Zelensky did not play at
yeah.
all.
I mean,
I
and
was
there's
earned it.
questions, questions, and questions.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you got Ostrak that is doing a good job as a 6. Wallen kind of close to him, and either Celio or Sunday. Okay, and then the front 3 will be the same: Teuscher, Hartel, and Klaus. And then when you have subs, you have Reed can go to the left if you need Horn out, right?
Mhm.
You have Celio or Silva, depending of who, to switch each other, or to take Teuscher or to take Hartel if needed. We know that Betcher's there to change him with Klaus if needed. Joyner's also there. And the last one would be Watts, that I didn't put him on the starting lineup. You got Watts and Jotto that they can come in to sub a tire center back, a tire right back, a tire left back, a tire 6. That makes sense. So, like,
Yeah.
with the same pieces you had in your squad in a different way to play, you could have a good refreshing when needed, and being more in position or your strength positions for your players. I know. That's what I think.
We'll
No,
put Oscar.
that's. I'm glad you walked through that because that sort of was my point, and you spoke it into existence. There's ways to manipulate and give yourself better options if you're not going to call guys up from City 2 on short-term loans and give yourself reasonable chances at substitutions that make sense without sacrificing your shape or forcing guys into roles they shouldn't normally be expected to play. So thank you for doing that, Oscar, because I think you're 100% on the money there.
And so, and I think there's another part that I see that maybe we're kind of missing is, or maybe it's just me, but are we not seeing some of the players that actually wants to prove themselves? Because it looks like maybe we might have some players that are already settled in their position and know that maybe don't have as much competition. Or maybe it's time to maybe bench some to send a message.
Who do you want to bench? Where do we have enough depth right now to bench people?
I know who you're talking
Hey,
about, but I don't
at
know.
the
I don't
point,
think I will be able to do it.
but
Are
at
you only
this
bench
point,
Hartle?
there's sometimes
Marcel?
at this point there's statement that needs to be made, right? That even if depth is not there, put those players in.
So who? I mean, are we talking Hartle? Are we talking Toy Shirt? Are we talking Klaus? Who are we talking?
All of them.
I'm just being curious. All of them? You want to make a statement and run out the kids, or just roll out like the Union Omaha team?
I'll say
I don't
probably
know. I
give
think
some.
the Omaha team didn't work very well and being effective
No.
either. So, I think I'm with you, but it's very hard. And the one that you need to be benched is Hartel. But it will be very hard to like pull him out and say like you're not performing because he's not performing. But you also put in him as a 5 when he's a 10 or a winger, or so it's very. He would not have the real reasons to say, hey, you need to be benched because I'm not helping you. As a coach, I'm not helping you to perform. And that's my job.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have another teammate of yours that's like breathing down your neck that forces you to be that player. Or maybe it's just me.
But the thing is, like, he's on the. It's so hard to judge because he's on the 5.
He's not playing his position.
He's playing on a role that he's forced to defend. He's just not good for him to be the player that we know he can be. So I think it will be really hard.
Or
If
maybe
he
just
was
pick
doing
one to make a statement. I think
if he was
one.
doing this playing up high, will be different. I
Oh,
would say like
100%.
100% get him out and put Junior. But he's not playing there. So that's the difficult part in my opinion. Okay. I don't know if you have anything else, Mo, coming in. I have a funny prop, but at the same time it brings my topic of the day.
No. I think that's the part where I'm still trying to figure out. We have the players to do it. They've shown a little bit of it at the end of last season, except a few Xander and all that. But maybe just like what you said, Oscar, is that maybe some players are being held back to be more defensive sound, that it's holding their creativity as much. Because when you have that much creativity on the bench and they are getting less than 20 minutes, it's kind of, for me, hard to get excited as much on the game, because I want to see some dribbling. I want to see some one-on-one. When I see back pass all the way to the center back, you will see my smile going to what in the world is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I watched one of your Manchester United legend, Gary Neville.
Mhm.
He was showing stats and saying that you guys can guess who was in all of the position from 11 players on the field. In today's day in soccer, who touches the ball the most?
Who touches the ball the most?
Yes, in your
Just
11 on the field.
just the position, not
Your-
Yes,
not
just
a
a position. Yeah,
player.
I mean, this is the first center back or your five.
yeah. He showed that at this time, this modern, is the center back that's getting usually some 60% of the passes, where he was like, that makes it as a boring soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, it's your offensive midfielders or your wings
Should
that
be, yeah.
get all of those
Yeah.
passes. So that's where it comes to play to now, where your center backs are having to do a lot more than you used to.
Mhm.
And now you're forces them to actually get exposed as much. So that was just my point, where I don't
Yeah.
mention Manchester United as much, but that Gary Neville, that was a nice analogy of us talking about our center back having to do
Right.
mental mistake, because give them 10 chances, they most likely would have 3 or 4 of those mistakes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, we don't give the ball to the talented people, so it's impossible to get them to score goals or to create chances that they're meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
what Matt's saying, yes,
Oh.
the difference between the build up from San Diego and ours is abysmal. One touch playing coming out of the corner. It was when we were bringing the pressure, they were playing keep away with us and leaving. When we get under pressure, we get 2 passes, then we made a mistake, we get scored. Like that was the difference of the game. Like you can put side by sides of San Diego playing out of the back, City playing out of the back. San Diego connected 10 passes, City connected 3, give it away, and we got scored on. Yes, in that one, Betcher, of course, Betcher has the same problem as Klaus.
Mhm.
If we don't give him off balls, Betcher's not a miracle worker either. So
I just wonder if if Olaf just doesn't trust the guys he has available to play, because I'm not a Madrid guy, but I think of like exciting soccer, Mbappe and Vinicius and Rodrigo on the wings. And I know that that's a really bad comparison to say Pompeo is like Vinicius or whatever, right? But that's what I would love to see our attack look like. Our Zande and Celio out wide. Give me Klaus in the middle. And if you want to run a 10 and put it as Hartle or Toyshin underneath, do something like that in a 4-3-3, attacking 4-3-3 setup. And I would love to see it. But
look at you, Jeremy. He's looking for some Brazilian samba trio right there.
I just
All
want,
Brazilians. Look at
I
that.
want to see some beautiful attacking soccer is what I want to see.
That's what made me
And
fall in love with soccer. It's that. If you're telling me that you have left, right, and middle, and you
Mhm.
have to be afraid of those three guys,
Well, what are the similarities?
Well,
Each
yeah.
of on the wings, they can take guys on one. That's what we've heard. Olaf praise Celio for it. He's not a defender, and Vinny's not going to come back and defend, and neither is Rodrigo going to either. So, but that's the problem. That's the expectation on them is to come back and defend when they shouldn't, and I think it's a lack of trust in our squad. Which, if that's the case, get Lutz on the phone and tell him to get some guys that Olaf can trust.
it's gonna be interesting.
Hey,
Sunday.
so there was at least good news today on social media that apparently we did send a scout down to South America and completed a full report in Argentina.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
look at you! Breaking news. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I saw it on social media from I believe our soccer zombie posted from someone else that did. I don't know who was the credit, who had the credit. So whoever has it, sorry, don't know who did it, but yeah, the soccer zombie shared it with our group today, and I mean
Thanks,
that's exciting because it's something we have not seen. So good. Let's see if we get anything actually out of it in the transfer window, or if we can bring a player right now where the supplemental roster. I don't know how the rules were on that end, but it will be great. And a lot of people are commenting on what happens if we lose on Wednesday.
Don't put that in the
So,
air.
I'm putting it in the air because
Hold on.
it's a
So-
big reality that could happen.
Oh,
So Wednesday, I know we haven't got there yet, but the big thing that I'm wondering, so I've been trying to find all day the actual official MLS count of yellow cards. Olaf got another yellow at the weekend. I think that's his
Right.
third, and if it is,
Yeah.
he's
He's
suspended.
suspended. He is.
So he will not be on the sidelines to coach at Kansas City or against Kansas City. So
he is.
I'm curious who will be the manager, if it's going to be I
Assistant
don't know
coach.
if it's going to be Valentich or whatever. I butchered that last name. I don't know which assistant it's going to be. But that's going to be another wrinkle to this derby Q. I'm calling it
Yeah.
Battle of the
El
Mids
Trágico.
because both teams are terrible. El what?
El Trágico.
Now we're gonna get you in trouble now.
No, you know what? Hey,
No,
12th and 13th in the West. It should
So
be.
like it's not like El Tráfico that is the one in LA, right? It's El Trágico because we are two teams that are full of tragedies. It's just weird. Catastrophic is a tragedy.
Hey, I guess we're gonna
Yeah,
have to put that on there and see what people
And
have
we
to
always
say.
and every time that we get a El Trágico, it's always with the team being on 13 and 14 plays, 12 and 13. Like it's tragic.
That's what we are. Yeah, it is. Both
Oh, and
teams are down.
Daniel, don't start trouble. That's not how it works. Yeah, that's why they have
Okay.
phones, they
Okay,
have
hold
walkie-talkies, they will talk. And but we have hey, Jen, hey, look, we have a celebrity here, Jen.
Wow.
Hey,
Just
Jen
went and
Cease
she
in the
confirmed
house.
that's his third.
How you doing, Jen? Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, well, you know what, guys, we're gonna have to button up because if Jen is watching, we have to make sure we looking clean because pros are watching.
Fix our collars, look
Yes.
Sit up, guys.
Proper. Speak up, because
coach is in the house.
yes, we're gonna be in trouble. And she's the expert too on mental state.
Hey.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
We might have to bring her in to talk about that part.
But
Hey,
hey, good
so,
luck to her though, because she does great work on Y98.
Yes.
Here comes so I wanted to do this because I think
Jen's gonna listen
you guys
to it.
will get a kick of it. My Jen laugh at me or something. I don't know. But so I mentioned a lot on the comments after the game because guess what? Mr. Olaf Melberg said we were the better team again on the presser, right? So I decided, and I have said it, that CDSC have a new record and a trophy of we were the better team trophy. we were the better team trophy. So here you go, guys. We have it. We'll keep it as long as Olaf is in charge because every presser he will say, no matter if we lose 4-1, we will still say we were the better team, even for 5 minutes, but we were the better team. So
Oscar, oh
here we
no,
go.
you didn't.
Oscar, you might need to pass that over here because sadly, I actually agree with Olaf for about 2/3 of the game. I felt through 70 minutes we were the better team, and I don't think it's debatable. I think the subs killed the game for us, which we've already killed to death talking about, but that's where I think the game was
But
lost is the subs.
so Jeremy, but my hot take is yes, I know we were in some point the better team. Where did that lead us? And where did all those we were the better team lead us this season? To 2 wins and 8 losses, right?
Yeah.
And we are in the bottom of the stands.
Yeah.
So I don't really care being the better team. Stop telling me that. I really don't care.
Yeah,
I
that's
care
fair.
winning games. I care scoring goals. Stop
So
telling me you were the better team.
hey,
Be
Jeremy,
better,
right?
and then at the end of the game, say we won a game because we were the better team.
Remember, Jeremy, it's not how you start the game, it's how you finish it.
That's true. But the season is not one game, it's a journey. So maybe we're starting to see it come together. Look, okay,
How
Oscar,
many years
you're
do we
not
have to
wrong.
wait for that?
You're not wrong. Hey, look, we've got your trophy. We have as many as Spurs now.
Wow, he just threw that out there.
Hey,
Ouch.
or as many as Harry Kane's only got one trophy. How many years did it take him to get one? And he had to go to Bayern to do it. But anyway,
Yeah,
moving
he
on.
almost didn't.
Yeah, I know.
Who's the Spurs in the chat? Anybody Spurs in the
Anybody?
chat?
Hey,
It
no,
needs a
I know
little
Dan
lotion
is
in
Leicester
there.
City.
Look, I got to talk a little trash on him. We're playing him in the Europa League finals. United are, so I gotta get a little.
Yeah,
shot
y'all
at him.
better win because Tottenham
don't,
cannot win a trophy.
If we don't, I'm just gonna bury my head in the hand. I'll have to take a week off and embarrass
Mo,
myself. But
I
no,
think I'm gonna make fun of you if Tottenham wins it. I know Chelsea do not get along with that.
Yeah, but we're in the final too, so But I'm just saying that Tottenham cannot have it because it's their laughing stock, right? So you want to keep them out, so since you don't
As
have a
long,
trophy.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Aaron is
So,
a Leicester
no,
City, so we
but-
have two
but-
of them.
But Mo,
But Oscar,
anyways,
you're right.
this is gonna win. So,
but you're right though, Oscar. You're right. I mean, I can try to preach on platitudes and stats all I want, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the points, and we don't get any for a loss. So, and it's another loss at home, which is another problem and becoming another issue for us because we can't lose at home. We've got to turn that around. And Ryan, you're 100% right.
So we're closing the door on San Diego, right? We want to forget about it.
yeah.
Goldfish
it's
memory. Squash it. Oscar, you want to go to your hot take before we leads to our neighbors?
Well, I mean, that was my hot take.
Oh, that was?
just like, yeah. I mean, it's just like I'm tired of listening to the better team. That we deserve better. That we had chances. That because even Lutz said something, and then Jeremy, you shared his comments, and you said that yes, we're having chances. We are playing better, and so on, so on. So, but at the same time, what? That doesn't do anything to me. Did I leave happy on Saturday at the field? No. Did I was super proud of the boys for the way they played? No. Because at the end of the day, I'm tired of seeing the same thing that we tried to do something and then we don't accomplish it. I mean, soccer is about results. Nobody has won City won a trophy of doing a better than the other team for
Hey,
some
we have
minutes.
two. City Ref, we also won theirs last year, right? No?
So
Oh, it was that. Sorry.
it just and I've seen it on obviously like fans are getting tired and fed up with the results and everything.
Mhm.
people left the stands before the game was over. So we do see that there's some type of frustration. The fans are not happy and all that, but I don't think it's enough, or we're not saying the message correctly. I don't know, because if they're gonna keep saying, well, we were the better team, something's not right. Something's We're allowing them to say the same thing over and over again and think that it's okay. I don't know. That's just my perspective. I'm not happy with the team. I'm not happy with how they're communicating with their issues. They're not taking accountability of not winning for 8 games, right?
That's bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
and then the fans are, some of them are like, well, I mean, we're starting, we're only a 3-year team, or Olaf is only 4 months into the job, and I was like, I get that, but I believe in most of the jobs, if I go to my job, I get an evaluation at 6 months, and if I didn't perform, I'm most likely I'm out of the door. So why cannot hold people accountable for the same things, especially in a profession where you need results? You are mandated to have results, and it's not even like, play good, be attractive, be create some fun for the fans. Because what we did on Saturday was cheering, having fun. We're supporting. There's here and there good plays that may excite you a little bit, and then we get hit with 2 daggers to our passion, to our heart, and then we get a fake one of the goal where he brings it back a little bit. But I mean, who in City Park thought we were gonna tie? I didn't. I saw that goal as meh.
Yeah, it was just a few minutes left, so that
Correct.
immediately
Because
I
started
there
think
to
was
stop.
no chance to also like to get
so.
a momentum or something. It was just more like got there by accident, and it was like, oh yeah, we score a goal. Yeah, but we still
So
lost.
so I think here's the thing. I think for me, once we went down a goal and then they quickly get a second, I think the part that I was starting, I'm not gonna say I'm okay with it because I wasn't happy leaving the park. However, we could have capitulated and they could have gotten a third, or God forbid, even a fourth. When our heads drop, things tend to really go wrong and really get ugly fast. And I was a little relieved that we at least showed enough resiliency to fight back and get another goal, or get a goal in the first place. It wasn't like, did I think we were going to win? No, but we didn't go into a shell, and we didn't stop trying to get a goal.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, at least you know that your defense was trying to keep the game close, because
Yeah.
who scores a goal?
Right. Well,
no
and
offensive
and
players.
so okay, and so we are what? We're 12 games into a 34-week season. We're 2 games out of the playoffs, realistically. I think we're on 10 points. The 9th spot right now is 16. So
So
I'm
we're
not
lucky to
ready
be
to.
in MLS.
Well, yeah, when the only expectations is playoff and you're not fighting relegation. I think if you're fighting relegation, Olaf's out at this point. But I don't, because we're a non-relegation league. I think they give him a longer leash, and I mean, literally, you're 6 points out of 7th place right now. So it sucks, and I do think it's under the magnifying glass and made worse by the fact that our style of play is really boring and not great overall. But I'm not ready to cash in and say the season's a failure yet, because because there's still what, 20 games left, almost 20, no, yeah, well, there's 34 games, so there's still like 22 games left or something crazy
22.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
So I
so I
guess the
mean,
question is just have
there's
to
time.
show progression.
I want to
There,
see progress, but I want to see the Open Cup run. I don't want to forget about that.
Oh,
We
yeah.
can't forget about the Open Cup.
Unfortunately, we're playing Minnesota, and
All
they're
right,
pretty
so
much destroyed. You know who?
Yeah, so beat Kansas, go all in for the Open Cup game, and then throw away the league game against Minnesota, or is that a bad idea?
I'll beat. Yeah,
I want a trophy.
I think that I won't say throw away, but maybe be a little bit more
Yeah,
conservative for the league
rotate.
game for
Heavier
Minnesota.
rotate.
Yeah.
I still
I
have
mean, you would think
nightmares
that
of the
Minnesota will come out
Yeah.
hard for the league game because they're on the high note.
yes.
Okay, good point, Daniel. I might have the
Yeah,
calendar
because
flipped
I
around
want
for
them
me.
to just be conservative on that, just for the fact that I still have nightmares of Chicago. Right, that was the
Mhm.
last time where we had them both at the
Back to
same
back.
time, and clearly we show that it was not our greatest. So for that part, as we lead to the SKC game, for me, absolutely not 1000% lose against SKC at home. Not just because of where we're positioned on the table. They won a game without a shot on goal. We've done a little bit of that, but just as a fan, we cannot withstand that for an entire year if they come home and then beat us here. Unless we play our best football and then SKC does as well, and then they beat us because they were slightly better. But I still have nightmares of the playoffs game at City Park. We don't want to talk about it, but you remember that scoreline.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I mean, if we as a fan, like we need to win it. Like there's no question on that. I don't want to imagine losing. I remember still the time that we lost on at home against them on the playoff.
Mm.
That was painful. That was painful. And if we underperform this game and we let them have it, like I think it's gonna be as hard as that because the way that we are right now, the way that we're sitting on the bottom, knowing that the way that they beat us in Kansas City last time as well. And I mean, luckily I'm not in social media and the toxic social media that I would not see any of those comments, but they would not let us have it for a full year.
Damn, at this
That
moment.
would be, I mean, there probably are right now. Like I'm thankfully I'm not there to read it because I'll get pissed off and start commenting the wrong things. But
Hey,
but
I don't even have to say anything. They go into my DMs anyway. So
Look,
right. So
hey,
I mean it would be very bad for everybody, fan base, for the club, for everything. Like it's gonna be a very painful one if we not get the result that we need, and the one that we need is winning. It's not even a question. There's no tie in this game. Is winning or nothing else is acceptable on that.
So, all right, let's talk the matchup a little bit. So, as you
boy.
called it, El Trajico, both teams are in the bottom of the West. Sporting Kansas City sits 12th. They're 3-1-8. We are 13th. As City is 2-4-6 through 12 games. The last 5, Kansas City is 2-0-3. They've including 2 losses on the road. City's last 5, you don't want to talk about, were winless with 2 draws and 3 losses, including 2 losses at home. Sporting's away form. They've only gotten 1 win away. They're 1-0-5 away. They've been outscored 11-8 on the road and a negative 4.9 expected goal difference. City at home 1-2-3, outscored at home by opponents 5-3. Though we do have a plus 2.9 expected goal difference at home somehow. Their leading scorer is Dejan Joveljic. He's got 5 goals. The former LA Galaxy man. Daniel Saloui is 4-goal scorer, and Eric Tommy with a pair of goals. Our leading goal scorers joint are Marcel Hartle and Cedric Toyshert at 2 apiece. Kyle Hebert, Zhao Klaus, Edu Leuven, and Simon Betcher each with a goal to their credit. Goalkeeper comparison, John Pulskamp has a 62% save percentage on the season with 2 clean sheets. And Roman Berkey is expected to be back for this game based on the comments from Lutz at the weekend. As you recall, Roman Berkey is unbeaten on the season, 1 win, 2 draws with 3 clean sheets. Questions about depth for both teams a little bit. Last at the weekend, Logan and Denbei was out for Sporting Kansas City. Kyrie Shelton and Joaquin Fernandez also were questionable last weekend. Meanwhile, for City, we're expecting Edu Leuven to probably still be away. Henry Kessler is out recovering from a hamstring injury, as are Alfredo Morales and Tomas Totland. Chris Durkin may be available in some capacity. Unclear. We'll learn more from Olaf Melberg tomorrow, as he and Marcel Hartle will have their pre-match press conference early in the afternoon. But last week, Olaf did say Durkin could be available for the Derby. So lots of stuff there. Troubled because Joveljic by himself has almost as many goals as City does as a club. So not some pretty numbers, guys, to look at. Sporting Kansas City likes to press too. And if we saw shades of what we do against a press on those goals against San Diego that they got against us, I'm a little bit afraid. In the chat. And Cody, we should expect to see a player availability report sometime tomorrow. They're normally out about 24 hours before the game on the MLS player availability website.
Yeah, and it looks like they are playing a lot better under their interim coach too. So we're definitely going to this game with 2 different opposite state of mind.
Yeah, both teams coming in off losses.
For us. Could be for us. I mean, if we remember how we play against Kansas City, we were going on a high note, thinking we don't get scored at all, a lot or at all, and Kansas City has not been effective, and he hasn't won in so many games. And then look what happened. So maybe they're coming on a high horse, and then we do the underdog performance where we do something miraculously and we beat them well. Or I mean, but yeah, to be honest, I did not fully watch the Portland Kansas City game, but it was only a magnificent goal that beat give the win to Portland. So yeah, they're definitely a stronger team than the one we faced before. They're more structured. They're obviously have more confidence. So
I would watch
not a great team, but
I would watch set pieces. So Kansas is 16th in total goals in the league, but they are only 29th in open play XG. So I would keep an eye on set pieces in this game, because I think those are going to be pretty important based on what we've seen Sporting do. So we'll just have to be at our best defensively. I'm going to be intrigued to see what the lineup looks like. You got to go, all out best 11 here, right? Even if guys are tired, you would think you've got to do it, but I don't know what other option Olaf or who's going to manage. We'll probably learn that tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and like Dan said, Joveljic, I think he's the one that I'm most afraid of. If the mistakes in the back line that we're having, if we give him 5 chances, he most likely will have those 5 chances on goal, and it will be up to whoever the goalkeeper is to make magic. Hopefully, even though Ben did his job, hopefully it's Berkey, because he has maybe a little bit of that extra standing on top of his head to do crazy things. And he puts the fear in God to most players in our defenders.
So I do want to ask you guys a question, though. So that actually is a great intro into this. So Lutz did say on KMOX over the weekend, he was asked specifically about Roman Berkey coming back, and he said Let me get that quote for you. I just had it pulled up. Big game coming up Wednesday. I expect Roman to be out there, which is important for us. Not just the goalkeeper, but also the captain, the leader, the guy who knows when to open his mouth to be critical to other players. So to have that high impact player back hopefully wakes up the guys around him. And again, that's sporting director Luch Pfannenstiel on KMOX with Tom Ackerman on Sports on a Sunday morning. But so I'm excited to get that back. But I think the question I have, though, is Berkey the only guy that knows how to properly talk to his other players, whether it's being critical or not? And if so, isn't that seems like a bigger problem to me, especially if you're going to have Hartle wearing the armband.
I think there was another one they showed that also, I guess they listened to and talked to, even though people roasted him as much. But Yaro, apparently, he was the other one that was very vocal. When we lost to Seattle, he was the only one that went on the presser and took the questions. But I think the rest, and I was saying that, right, when we say Parker and all that, that's what is also missing in this group is that, and I think Oscar brought it up, right? The pep talks, the thing that says, hey, this is our time. This is our house. This is this and that. You can tell when Berkey is on the field and, he commands it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's.
I know, like they, like in the insiders program and all that, like they cut a lot of things that they're not suitable for kids and things like that. But it just, you don't see that fire, like that lead fire in any of them. Obviously Berkey, but it's difficult. It's difficult. I think we're definitely missing that in team. So like if he's coming back, and we talked about it before, like when he comes back, he's not only bringing his good skills and good shot stopping skills, is the person he is there. They want to, hey, and I gave Berkey before kind of a little bit of a hard time, where he used to yell for everything, but I think like these people are missing it. So
Which is kind of scary, right? When you think about it, is that you guys are like professional athletes, right? You should be, when you go to halftime, and if somebody makes mistakes, it's not going to show, but you gotta have that talk, right? Maybe we have too many nice players, and then after that, we just have one that make the screams. I don't know. Sometimes you just have to be, even though I sugarcoat a lot of things, but you probably would not like me much when we were playing soccer. Right?
Yep.
And I think we don't see that as much, and be a little bit more harder too on the field too. I think we're also missing that, right? The Strauss like attitude on the field, for the previous season. I think that's what kind of made the excitement of City itself, is because we had those guys that had a chip on their shoulder, right? So we went from guys that were maybe a little bit of outcast of the MLS. We put them all into one group, and then that was City's first season, right? So they all had something to prove. And then second season, we started to bring a little bit more player with experience, right? So this gets a little bit more subdued. And now we're getting close to everybody's like almost professional, like, and established almost, so that there's a little bit less of that drive or that anger that some of those are the guys that we praised for, if that makes sense. Because now no one's arguing, right? No one says, oh, there's arguments in the locker rooms, there's people not getting along in the locker room, but push comes to shove, once they pass that white line, they're all together to play.
Yeah, I wonder if, and you bring that in, like obviously we're not gonna know, or maybe you will know, and you're not gonna tell us, but it's
none.
but it's like, do they actually everybody getting along in the locker room? because these are times where you should not be getting along. Like this should be a time like everybody should be pissed off at each other because you guys are not winning games. Um,
They kept
because
it pretty well
Yeah.
on the lock.
because
if
I
there is.
mean if you when you have good times when you play good, well everything should be good. Like if you're connecting with your
Mhm.
teammates, you're playing good, you're doing all this. In bad moments like this, is when the other players each other should be pushing the other ones and like, hey, you're not performing the way you
Mhm.
and then you're not performing like without being like bad or like
Yeah.
disrespectful
No.
or anything, but like on that push it's like, hey, we really need to get this thing going. Like let's just pull it up. But yeah, so hey, I'm gonna jump out and
Okay.
soon.
You want your
So
bottle
if you
too?
guys want to
Uh,
keep talking, yeah, I need the bottle
uh,
too.
uh,
It's some watermelon.
you're killing me, Oscar. Oh my god. No, like that's
Yes,
what I thought Baumgartel was going to be though. Is that extra voice and we saw it from Kessler too, but I thought Baumgartel, part of the reputation Baumgartel had was that he was an outspoken guy in the locker room. So I expected that from him to bring that little bit of an edge with him, and we just haven't. And again, we don't know what's going on in the room, but perception is that we don't have a leader. If I guess that's what I'm hearing from Lutz. If I hear Lutz say we need somebody to talk to the guys, what else is in the locker room? That's just my perception as a fan.
Yeah.
Yo. All right, so
I mean,
Escar, do
we
you
don't
have
have
any?
anybody that gets pissed off in the field when they're
No.
losing.
They're all
Nobody's
gone.
like they're
Yeah.
like
Most of them got shipped
yeah.
So
elsewhere.
then, do we need to do predictions so that Oscar can head out and we can all call it an
So
evening?
is he going to give us a little hint of what that tifo is going to look like?
Oh,
It's gonna have
He's like-
colors.
I
Gonna
saw
have
as
very
I
nice
saw
colors.
I saw yellow. I saw there's
Yeah.
yellow involved. I did see a snippet of somebody painting with.
I
black
won't
and
try to
yellow.
get you in trouble. I thought
No,
I just
no,
got
I
the
mean-
idea.
I mean, people on social media have seen it. So there's some pictures of like the process painting a little bit, obviously, without showing what it is.
I'm excited to
but
see
yeah.
it finally. Is it
It's
the first one this year?
Second.
second because the home opener had the Star Wars one.
Okay, yeah, that
Yep.
was so long ago. It's
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah, I've heard it's
looks,
epic,
it
yeah.
looks very good. I would
Yeah.
say it is complete. It's officially
Do-
complete.
Do we know if we're
So-
gonna rig it? Is it actually gonna be rigged or is it gonna go over the
And
credits?
it depends of the weather.
Okay.
Depends of what the weather will let do. That's not on anybody's call. It's just like what the decision they make. But
Okay.
yeah, so we want to have a special shout out to all those guys
Yeah.
and ladies working on those TIFA because it takes a lot of work and typically don't get all the appreciation. So just want to
yes,
say
there were
thank you for
many
for it.
volunteers for sure. There were many volunteers going this past week and a half, doing a lot of work. So
Yes, just want to make sure
all
you
good.
guys, everybody gets their full credits because the team, the city gets the credits, but you want to make sure everybody, every strokes, every piece of paint, drivers gets their full credits for it. And Oscar, you're part of that group.
I did not collaborate this time. I didn't have the time, but
Oh,
I
you
know our group
slacker!
did a great
Come
job.
on,
Yeah,
Oscar.
I slack on this one, but yeah, I would not take credit for the building up of this one because I did not help. I mean, I help morally and I help. Like, come on, guys, paint faster.
You missed the spot. You missed the spot.
Tifo's on fire. Your painters are terrified. No, wait, wrong. I got that wrong. Oh well. I tried.
Oh. And Aaron, so it looks like you've done a lot of that work. So thank you, and we'll get you some icy hot if allowed to bring that in.
Yeah, I know like a few people in the chat that they have been there. Amy and Homie and Aaron, obviously, they have been in there helping out. So yeah,
So we appreciate you
definitely
and
appreciate it.
even staying late to listen to us rumble at the same time too. So even extra credits for that one. So all right.
All
So
right.
quick prediction before we close out.
Predictions. I'm gonna go only with what I want.
Okay.
I'm gonna
fair.
save my fear to myself. What I want, what I want is 3-1.
Oh, I like it.
What I want is a 3-1. I hope we do have a thing on Santos, and some people do it as well in the other groups. But when the team score 3 goals, we take our shirts off. So it's time for that.
Okay.
Males,
not
against
no. The females have not
Uh,
participated on that, and we're not judging for that. No.
Yes, they're out of trouble.
That's right.
Yeah, correct.
We're family friendly.
Right.
Anyway,
Come on, Jerry.
what would I want a 3-0, but I think it's going to be 2-1.
I want
City.
4-0, but it's most likely going to be 2-0. So
I'm
that's
we
gonna
all
tell
predicting
you what
City?
I think it's gonna be.
We're all
Yeah,
predicting
just-
City wins.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
just going to roll with that.
Yeah, just
Yep.
take it. But yeah, and keep it to yourself, everything else. But as always, everybody, thank you for joining and staying late as always. Let us know in the comments below if what you like and maybe would like to see, and maybe a little bit of that video playing that we've done as well, if you want that too. And if you like Charlie's board as well, because it looks like he's moving on up the technical side of things. So but as always, make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll see you all at Energizer Park on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
And we're all of our good friends, and let's have some fun, and hopefully we go home
Hey,
happy.
It's not official, but we might try to get a little chat going, right? Or we said no.
We'll see. I'm
Hello,
down to
Chad.
try it. If you guys want to try a little something
After
after
the
the
game.
KC game, might be some dark camera work in the car, but you know.
Right.
So we so let's see. So should we try maybe a little bit after? So we try to see if we can get home at that time.
I'm down for whatever. It'll be late
Yeah.
on a work night,
Yeah.
so I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm down.
Because I have to do
It
for
takes
me,
me
I have
30
to
minutes
rush
to get
home.
out of.
Yes.
It takes me 30 minutes to get out of the park because I
Okay.
have to put flags away and all that stuff
I think that
after the
should-
game. So
that should
yeah,
work.
and
Because I have to then drive all the way back home because then my wife has to go to work. So that means in the 10.
we'll
10
try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't
Yeah.
work out. But
Yeah,
I
we have
just-
to have fun for a reason.
So
I'm sure people will
stay-
be attentive if we go in.
so,
Just keep an
So
eye on
stay-
every
stay-
tweets we have. There you
yep,
go.
stay tuned to socials. We'll let you know if we're going live for a little midweek soccer talk for sure.
All right, guys,
All right.
everybody,
I think
appreciate your time.
I'm gonna do the Charlie. They're calling me. Bye.